Guys, we have a topic to discuss today. Additionally, in an interview, Paige Bueckers revealed the severity of the referee's issue, as if she had just revealed how awful it was during a pre-game interview. The referee's treatment of Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of diabolical. You are well aware of what I mean if you have been following the WNBA this season. I'm not just tossing either. Here, hot takes are around. I'm referring to clearly visible missed calls that have left players, coaches, and fans perplexed. And let me tell you, Caitlin Clark has only maybe gone to the foul line 6 times in the last 4 games. How come the point guard with the most ball dominance only gets to the foul line 6 times? I am not sure if they are simply ignoring the calls or if they simply do not see them. Ultimately, there is a systemic problem with Caitlin Clark, the WNBA, and the referees as they stand right now. Here's what's motivating me today, though. One of the few players who has genuinely spoken their opinions on this craziness. Bueckers, Paige. Yes, you heard correctly. Paige spoke up and spoke what everyone else was thinking, while the majority of the league remained mute. According to him, Paige Bueckers has publicly said that she needs to retrain her defense skills while fouling more because these refs allow her to get away with anything. She actually stated that she needed to forget. In other words, she had to essentially relearn how to foul while playing defense. Oh, you know, everything you've been taught about defense, including how to move your feet, play without fouling, and all of this. She had to discard all of the sound defensive principles she had acquired, and now she had to learn how to commit foul. This goes beyond basketball. No longer. Fairness is at issue here. This is about keeping your league's reputation intact. And this concerns one rookie's bravery in pointing up what everyone else could see but chose not to mention. You're aware that something has been strange if you've been watching Caitlin Clark play this season. The fouls that somehow go uncalled, the hits she's endured, and the impacts she's absorbed. It's crazy. It's not fair. It's incorrect. Finally, someone who truly had credibility in this league made the decision to speak up. WNBA referees are the worst in sports. NFL fans are saying things like, "Bleep. What? Did you see the referees chilling for the Chiefs again last year? And look, the NFL referees are dreadful." Okay, but at least occasionally, it doesn't appear as though they're actively ignoring possible harm. The Dallas game served as the ideal illustration of every issue with Clark's officiating. Before receiving a whistle, she was fouled at least 5 times during the sequence in question. The TV crew was astounded by what they were witnessing. When your own commentators are malfunctioning, you can tell there's a problem when you see every missed call on live TV. Right here, where JJ was gripping the arm, they are discussing this. Alright, they're also discussing this particular moment, aren't they? She is extending her hand through the body. Both arms go through the body here, reaching both sides. Thus, they are discussing this one. They're discussing the correct. On the sweat down here, she appeared to have slightly struck her hand here. This was being called a foul by her. Is Rebecca Lobo speaking here? This was deemed a foul by her. Then we have this hit on the right arm right here from JJ Quinney. She is also calling this a foul. Okay. After her match against Clark, Paige Bueckers revealed some shocking facts that no one wanted to hear. She acknowledged what we have all been considering. Caitlin Clark is being murdered by players, and the referees are getting away with it. Paige explained that because WNBA referees allowed players to get away with so much more than they could in college, she had to learn how to play defense while fouling. Take a moment to consider that. According to a rookie, the professional league is less disciplined when it comes to calling fouls compared to collegiate basketball. It's reversed. That is entirely incorrect. I don't know, maybe NBA refs should just officiate Caitlin's games at this point. I don't mean to offend anyone else, but hey, that's the only person that everyone is watching anyhow. Bro, they should just play Caitlin games. Because of the manner they're now missing these calls, the game's outcome is beginning to shift. And dude, it's beginning to look awful. Really, really, really awful. And bro, I'm not sure. We must take action. Now, dog, let's pull up this article. Subscribe if you're enjoying it. Paige's particular reference to the disparity in officiating standards was the most revealing. In contrast to college, They don't care about freedom of movement like that, so I can get away with a lot of things that I couldn't in college. She said, "This isn't some random player complaining about calls. This is the #1 draft pick. A player who's been in the spotlight for years telling us that the WNBA allows a level of contact that would never fly in college. And who's been on the news lately, on the receiving end of the majority of such contacts? Clark, Caitlin. Paige isn't just any player, which is why her remarks are so important. She is credible. She is respected. She has played at the top levels, has been through the grind at UConn, and is familiar with what elite basketball looks like. People pay attention when she claims that the referees are allowing players to get away with fouls. Her statement that the treatment is unfair carries weight, and it takes guts for her to be willing to say it in public. She needed to get better at going foul. That, in my opinion, is one of the most absurd things a player has ever said. You can watch it here, so I'm not the only one who couldn't find a video of Ryan Rebecca giving Paige a lengthy tirade. Her complaint was so ludicrous that it's not basketball, as people say. Oh, it's physical basketball. No, you're just going around hacking people. I had to relearn how to defend in order to be less cautious about fouling. It's not foul. That isn't defense. Hacking folks on the go. This season, Clark has been under unbearable strain. Yes, I am exactly using what Paige said. She referred to Clark's expectations as inhumane. Consider that. It is truly cruel how much pressure she is under to perform at the level she does every single night. I like to assume that everyone is flawless and that there are never any bad games or evenings. According to Paige, if she doesn't go 8 out of 10 from 3, people will start to wonder. Having to put up with it is just unfair. What's even more unfair, though? Dealing with, under tremendous pressure while being mauled on the court without any governmental protection. No one wants to admit that Clark has been subjected to a double standard. The referees simply ignore her being gripped, pulled, shoved, and having her body scrutinized. In the meanwhile, it's an automatic foul if she breaths on someone incorrectly. It's insane. It is prejudiced. It's incorrect. I just saw this photo and thought, what are we doing? Do you think Kathy Engelberg come out? That wasn't that long ago. Similar to 2 weeks ago. Refereeing in this league is fairly excellent. Which league? Which league permits this? What sort of move is Ryan Howard making toward Kane Clark, in your opinion? What move is that? The Dallas game was only the most recent instance of dubious officiating during the season. However, the fact that others began to call it out at last was what set it apart. The broadcast crew was unable to overlook it. It was too much for the fans to ignore. Most significantly, it was impossible for players like Paige Bueckers to ignore. When ESPN commentators provide real-time analysis of each missed foul, when the opposition players acknowledge that the referees allowed them to get away with contact that they were never able to in college. You can tell when things have gotten out of hand when players and coaches are speaking out about the treatment. The majority of players have been utterly silent. Yes, coaches have complained to us. Fans have expressed their dissatisfaction, but players have largely been silent up until this point. That hush was broken by Paige Bueckers. She did it in a way that made it impossible to ignore. Her complaints weren't limited to calls. She did it in a way that made it impossible to ignore. Her complaints weren't limited to calls. She gave a system explanation. She explained to us how the game is actually played. She called out and acknowledged that players are abusing the absence of officiating. When Becca Lobo and Ryan Rico discussed this game on the radio last night, I can assure you that they were absolutely enraged. Let's pull it up now, bro. There have been articles about Rebecca Lobo criticizing the WNBA referees for actually calculating the fouls on television. It's a foul. It's a foul. It's a foul. This is getting frightening, guys. And I'm here to warn you that it will continue to become spooky until Kathy does something about it. Protecting Caitlin Clark because she's a delicate flower incapable of enduring touch isn't the point here. This relates to preserving the game's integrity. Making sure that everyone is treated equally under the rules is the goal here. This is about preventing the league's public face from being hurt because referees are too afraid or biased to call the correct decisions. Clark is extremely resilient. She has often demonstrated that. However, The type of uncalled contact she has been enduring shouldn't be endured by any player. The consequences of this impoverished officiating is not limited to Clark. The entire game is altered when referees allow players to get away with heavy contact. Dirty play is rewarded, penalizes skill. Basketball becomes a wrestling bout as a result. And fans don't want to witness that. The league shouldn't be endorsing that. That isn't the intended purpose of the sport. The most annoying thing has been seeing Clark maintain his exceptional performance in spite of everything. She's dragging her side to victory, making plays that leave you stunned, and dishing out amazing assist totals, all while getting battered without any protection. That is legendary, not just impressive. This type of mental toughness is what distinguishes great players from good ones. However, the necessity for her to do it shouldn't be. Alright, given that Caitlin Clark is routinely let to experience this, how in the world is anyone expected to score? This defense, how the F? Is this the NFL or the WNBA? Look, wait a moment. NFL. What sort of defense is this, I wonder? Throughout the season, the larger story about Clark's treatment has been developing. Viewers have been making viral videos of missed calls. In press conferences, coaches have been vocal. Articles about the officiating issue have been written by members of the media. However, a well-respected classmate named Paige Bueckers was the one who truly broke through the clutter. She claimed that because they can get away with it, players are learning to foul. Things began to shift when she defended Clark's treatment and pointed out the double standard. Paige's remarks were spoken at the perfect moment. She made the decision to speak up immediately following their head-to-head contest, in front of the entire basketball community. She had the option to remain silent. She had the option to stay out of the controversy. She had the option to simply discuss the game and go on. However, she didn't. When she witnessed injustice, she called it out. Leadership is that. That's bravery. The sport needs more of that. We call this defense. Last night, the Indiana Fever prevailed by 17 points. 17. And they spent the entire evening playing defense against Caitlin Clark in this manner. Jordan scored over 30 points in his career game for Canada. 6 of her threes were manufactured. During the first half, she spent the entire evening playing defense against Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark led her team to a 7-17 victory despite playing little minutes, scoring 12 points, pulling down 4 rebounds, and dishing out 9 assists. They spend the entire evening playing defense on her in this manner. It is impossible to overstate the effect of what Paige said. She is more than simply another voice. She is a player who has experienced what Clark has. She has experienced expectations and pressure. She has performed to the best of her abilities. She is aware of what constitutes fair officiating. She also tells us that Clark isn't getting fair treatment. Genuine change can occur when your peers speak up. What the league will do about it is now the question. The evidence is overwhelming. The grievances are mounting. There is no denying the footage. Players are beginning to express themselves. It's being called out by the broadcast teams. When does the WNBA have to admit that anything is wrong? When must they take action to address this? For example, there are people in the area of this league, including those who are quite active in it, but are unfamiliar with basketball. As if there were a hacking and physical play are very different from simply going about hacking people. As if it weren't physical play. Fouling is that. Hacking and physical play are very different from simply going about hacking people. As if it weren't physical play. Fouling is that. There is a distinction. Are you curious about the definition of physical play? Physical play lets both post players hammer home. However, the foul may start by knocking them unconscious because a journey, move them a touch too much, or even hit them in the arm. Indeed, it's free throws, but even though you can shove guards, post guys are in violation of the rules for everything they do. They seem to be very forgiving with post players for some reason. It's not only about keeping Caitlin Clark safe. The goal here is to preserve the sport's integrity. This is about making sure that ability and expertise are recognized rather than punished. This is about ensuring that the regulations are administered consistently and equitably. The goal is to establish a setting where athletes may perform at their best without worrying about uncalled contact. It's impressive and devastating that a rookie voiced concerns about this issue. It's impressive that Paige Bueckers dared to criticize what other people were witnessing. It's terrible that it took so long for a credible person to say what needs to be said. But occasionally transformation occurs in this way. Sometimes the stillness must be broken by one individual. Sometimes a larger issue can be revealed with just one honest moment. People, this is not acceptable. This is unacceptable. She is grasping at her breast. For example, they detest the word breast when I use it. The angel reason. Huh? This will be cut out and shown. It's not me who does it. Additionally, I believe the officials failed to call this. This was not a call from you. Paige Bueckers' actions went beyond simply standing up for Caitlin Clark. She brought to light a system that has been flawed for far too long. She criticized the unfair and inconsistent officiating. She advocated for integrity and justice in a sport that has been deficient in both. She accomplished all of this while displaying the expertise and elegance that have made her a household name. In actuality, Caitlin Clark will continue to, excelling despite the way the referees handle her. She has often demonstrated that. She is resilient enough to withstand the impact, talented enough to get over the challenges, and driven enough to continue giving her best effort. But she shouldn't have to because of it. This does not imply that the treatment is appropriate. The league should still do better in spite of this. Players like Paige Bueckers' support is important. It is significant because it demonstrates that this is about more than just one person or one team. The sport itself is the focus. Making sure basketball is played correctly is the goal. The goal is to safeguard the players who add uniqueness to the game. It's about fostering an atmosphere where gifted people can flourish without worrying about being overlooked. The league's 9th best guard, picked up soon before half court, and the rest of the night was spent being suffocated by being grabbed. All night, the defense is as follows. The league's 9th best guard. All right, Paige's bravery is supposed to encourage others to speak up. It is hoped that change will result from her candor. It is hoped that by standing up for Clark, she would improve officiating for everyone. Because that's what this is actually about in the end. Safeguarding not just a single player but also the game's overall integrity. Caitlin Clark will keep up her outstanding performance. She'll keep coming up with amazing plays. She will keep leading her squad to success. She won't have to do it alone, though, because of Paige Bueckers. She will have supporters. She will have admirers. When the system fails her, there will be those who are willing to speak up for her. And true change occurs in this way. One courageous moment at a time, one player at a time, one voice at a time. The truth has come to light. The quiet has been broken. The system has been made public. And the reason for this is that one player dared to speak up when the others were silent. That's why Paige Bueckers' remarks are so important. That is the significance of this moment. That's what makes. This is a far larger story than merely